My name's Tom Wilson. I'm the founder of Wilson Law Office. And today's video is about some basic information on operating while intoxicated defenses in Indiana. We're not going to be able to cover everything about operating while intoxicated defenses today. So if you would like to get more information, call the number below, schedule a time for us to talk, and we'll go through not only the general information about operating while intoxicated, but how it applies in your particular situation, which is the most important thing you need to know. But for now, we're going to give you some information that are things that come up regularly in discussions with clients. Probably the most common question I get, especially for somebody who hasn't been through the operating while intoxicated defense process before, is typically people are charged with two offenses and they don't understand why. They'll have one that's called operating while intoxicated, and then they'll have another offense that's operating with a blood alcohol content in excess of 0.08 or 0.15. And it's confusing because why would you have two charges? They did one thing, they drove and they had some alcohol in their system. Why did they get charged twice? And the answer to that is it's two different ways of essentially proving the same thing. Operating while intoxicated addresses your condition, the impact that alcohol may have had on your overall condition, your thought and mental faculties. And that's why they do those field sobriety tests on the side of the road, to address that question. Or one of the reasons. The other one is a pure, what's the status of your blood alcohol content? As the law in Indiana reads, if you're over the legal limit, you've committed an offense. And so the state can prove that offense in one of two different ways. That's why you get two separate charges. This next, probably most common question I get is something like, I had a prior operating while intoxicated 20 years ago. Will that matter today? And the answer is yes. Now, assuming for the discussion that at some point there's a conviction entered in your case, if you have a prior conviction for operating while intoxicated in Indiana, there's a required 5 days in jail that would apply. Now, there's ways around that. There's things that we do on a daily basis to avoid that problem, but the statutes provide that that's there and it has to be addressed. In addition, while the age of a case will have some impact on the judge one way or another, it will have some change that the judge might do because of the offense. So it can absolutely have an effect on the case. Another question that comes up is if at the time of the traffic stop you were alleged to have refused to take a breath test, what happens as a result of that? If there was a proper implied consent warning provided so that the refusal is deemed by the court to be legitimate, in that context you will receive an additional license suspension above and beyond what you would normally get. In addition, there's no ability to get specialized driving privileges. I have a separate video on specialized driving privileges that you can watch if you don't know what they are, and I would strongly recommend you to do that, but it is a way to get you on the road legally if your license has been suspended. If you have a refusal, we need to work to get rid of that so that you don't have that additional suspension. That, by the way, even if you go to trial and defend the criminal offense of operating while intoxicated, if the refusal still stands, you still get the license suspension. So we got to deal with that. And lastly, can you get a permit to drive for work? And we talked about that just briefly a moment ago on the specialized driving privileges. There are many circumstances where we can get it. If you end up with a refusal, you will not be able to get specialized driving privileges, but we might be able to take care of that. So those are the most common questions that come up regularly in the operating while intoxicated context. I hope this was helpful to you. If it was, or if you need additional information, call the number below, schedule a time, let's meet and go through that. I'm Tom Wilson, founder of Wilson Law Office. Thanks for watching.